Tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
This is my life, and it's pretty much gone.
A massive fire tears through 3 Vancouver businesses, including one that's been around for decades.
It just makes me want to cry.
Plus,
to have Mark Carney campaigning in Victoria certainly suggests that they believe they can get the seat, which they haven't had since the early years of the century.
as Election Day draws near, the federal Liberal leader hits BC again to try to win more ridings. And
we got a team!
professional women's hockey is officially coming back to the West Coast with a Vancouver team in the PWHL.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. Staff and owners of several businesses on Hastings Street in Vancouver are wondering what they will do next after a massive fire tore through their stores early in the morning. The blaze shut down a stretch of the busy road for much of the day. The CBC's Jessica Chung has more on what's been lost.
This is my life, and it's pretty much gone.
Paul Risk could only watch as flames and smoke consume his store. Dayton Boots, now known as Wolford & Company, have been making footwear in Vancouver for more than 7 decades.
I got involved because it's kind of an iconic East Vancouver brand, or not even East Vancouver, Pacific Northwest, we have global customers.
Risk's business, along with an Indian restaurant and a butcher shop, were hit by a 3-alarm fire that broke out at around 4 o'clock Wednesday morning on East Hastings near Nanaimo.
I don't know where we go from here, but it's a nightmare.
It's a historic building, so there's a lot of equipment in there that's probably irreplaceable. I'm worried about the staff, so I hope we can find work and keep them busy.
There was actually one point that you really couldn't see the buildings across the street.
Christina Hagan lives directly across the road. She was woken up by fire alarms and sirens.
I had a bird's eye view of exactly what was going on. A lot of firefighters, hoses, water attacking the fire.
Other neighbors are also heartbroken.
It just makes me want to cry. It's really sad. All the neighborhoods are losing character because of fires like this, and they happen all the time.
7 people had to be cleared out from another building as a precaution. Investigators say it's not yet clear what sparked the blaze.
So that's really what the investigators are going to be here talking with initial crews about where it started. Was this in the front and the back, or like directly inside of the structure? Did it start from the exterior and it was set? That's really going to be part of the investigation process. So,
Vancouver Fire says no one was injured as the buildings were empty when the fire broke out, but the residents here in the community will be feeling the impact for much longer. Jessica Chung, CBC News, Vancouver.
A Toronto woman is sharing her story of being violently attacked on Vancouver's seawall. We spoke with the CBC's Liam Britton earlier.
And police say it happened after midnight on April 15th. That's Tuesday last week. But most other details come from a TikTok video posted yesterday featuring a woman telling of her frightening assault. Now, we tried to reach her, but have not heard back yet. It seems her name is Stephanie, and she was in Vancouver on holiday. She was walking in Stanley Park, not far from her hotel, when she heard a man say something to her and then run at her, grabbing her jacket and throwing her to the ground. She says she was able to fight him off, but then he kept after her. He smashed her phone when she tried to call 911. He also started striking her in the head, and she says she blacked out at one point. Here's a bit of her story.
And I just thought, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I just kept telling myself, like, get up, get up, get up. Like, you're hurt, this sucks, you're bleeding, but like, get up because you're gonna die.
Now, she says she ran into a group of plainclothes cops who arrested the man, but not before she was injured, including a broken nose. She's back home in Toronto now.
We're glad to know she's safe physically now. What about the man arrested?
Well, we do know a bit from police and court records. Vancouver police named the man as Peter Hans Halo Nungo. We're not clear on the pronunciation there. He's charged with assault causing bodily harm. Court records indicate he's 33 or 34 and was arrested in Surrey just 2 days earlier for allegedly assaulting a peace officer, uttering threats and threats to burn, destroy, or damage. He was released after being charged.
Now, prosecutors tell CBC News the suspect has now been released after being charged in the Vancouver attack. He's due back in court in mid-May. We're less than a week away before Election Day across Canada, and in this final stretch, Liberal leader Mark Carney focused on 5 BC ridings he hopes his party can pick up. Katie DeRosa reports from 2 of them.
British Columbians could decide who is Canada's Prime Minister on Monday.
Liberal leader Mark Carney made a whistle-stop trip to BC Wednesday, visiting 5 battleground ridings the Liberals want to pick up.
So the stakes are enormous here in Victoria, all the way up island and across British Columbia.
First, Victoria, a seat the NDP has held since 2006. Liberal Will Greaves is trying to deny NDP incumbent Laurel Collins a 3rd term in Ottawa.
To have Mark Carney campaigning in Victoria certainly suggests that they believe they can get the seat.
Next stop, a pub in Esquimalt.
So where in Nanaimo are you from?
And a sing-along with elementary students from L'École Victor Brodeur. The riding of Esquimalt-Saanich-Sooke is also a stronghold for the New Democrats, but it's become a 3-way race between the Liberals, the Conservatives, and the NDP. In the riding, voters we spoke to say the national issue of fighting U.S. tariffs seems to be trumping more local issues.
I want somebody strong enough to stand up to Donald Trump.
I think so many people are so focused on how our government is going to interact with the American government that our local issues, that's exactly it, our local issues are getting lost.
This Esquimalt couple say they've voted NDP and Green in the past, but Carney has won their support.
It's too important to not be successful with this man who I think is right for running the country right now.
Carney also stopped in South Surrey White Rock, where Liberal candidate Ernie Clausen is trying to unseat Conservative incumbent Carrie Lynn Finley. And a stop in New Westminster Burnaby Mallardville, a redrawn riding where the NDP's Peter Julian has been the MP since 2004. Carney closed the day at a rally in Cloverdale. The Liberals are trying to claw back the Cloverdale-Langley City riding from the Conservatives, who won that riding last year in a by-election. Katie DeRosa, CBC News, Esquimalt.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, meanwhile, says his party will push for national rent controls.
We're going to ban corporations from buying up affordable homes. Because that's what they're doing. They're looking around saying, well, where's rent affordable? Because you know what we could do? We could probably triple that rent and make more profit. That should not be allowed.
Singh argues Mark Carney worked for a company that bought real estate that then jacked up rents. Singh also says he does not expect the Conservatives to win the election. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, meanwhile, defends his party's costed platform amid criticism from rivals.
Now, you ask me in a period of economic weakness after the Liberals have been in power for 3 terms, whether it is wise to campaign on economic growth. It's not only wise, it's essential for a change that we grow our economy.
Poilievre says his plan would add $13 billion to government coffers over 4 years. It relies on billions of dollars coming from cutting red tape to get new projects off the ground. Now, on Monday, election night, CBC News has you covered. Just after 10 p.m. Pacific until 2 a.m., our Gloria Makarenko will continue our Canada Votes election night special with our overnight program, After the Vote. She'll be joined by CBC reporters across BC and Alberta, and you can join us here on CBC Television, CBC Radio, and on CBC Gem. Women's professional hockey is coming back to Vancouver in a big way. The city has officially been named as the newest team in the PWHL. That's the Professional Women's Hockey League. More now from Karen Larson.
The Professional Women's Hockey League could have chosen any number of famous female dignitaries to make the announcement. Instead, it was the Vancouver Angels U11 C2 team that had the honor.
And today, we are so excited because right here in Vancouver, we got a team!
Vancouver's team begins play next season. That's only 6 months away. A big bonus is that the team already has a home arena, the Pacific Coliseum, on the P&E grounds. The rink on Renfrew, as it is known, former home to the Vancouver Canucks. Even better, the team's practice facility, the Agridome, is right next door. Officials with the PWHL said out of the many cities they considered for expansion, Vancouver ticked all the boxes.
For us to be expanding and welcoming a new team in season 3, it's just a huge symbol, I think, of the success, the growth, the appetite to invest more and to continue to grow the game. So it's a historic day for us, and we couldn't be more thrilled to be here in Vancouver.
It is spectacular. I mean, listen, as a league, we are so grateful. We have amazing ownership in the Walter Group, and Mark and Kimber Walter are so supportive in what we do every day. And so we're fortunate that we have ownership that is willing to invest in the growth of this sport and provide more opportunities for women athletes. And so, yeah, we're blessed.
The case for Vancouver was made clear in January's takeover tour when 19,000 fans of women's pro hockey packed Rogers Arena to watch Toronto play Montreal. With female minor hockey registration numbers almost equal to that of males in BC, the PWHL knows there's an eager and excited audience just waiting for a team.
We feel really excited to feel that we are chosen to have a Vancouver girls PWHL team.
The next few months will be busy. First, Vancouver needs to hire a general manager and hockey operations staff. They will then build a roster of players through a yet-to-be-determined expansion draft and rookie draft. That's in June. As for a team name, league officials say that, too, is a work in progress. Karen Larson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Still with sports, it is one of the biggest matches in Vancouver Whitecaps history. On Thursday, the squad will take on Inter Miami at BC Place. The game's a semifinal in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And as Amelia John reports, there are signs Miami's star, Lionel Messi, will be here.
There he is, on the airport tarmac, on his way to Vancouver. The most emphatic sign so far that Lionel Messi will play against the Whitecaps. Vancouver fans are buzzing over the matchup, which is part of the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
I'm excited. I want to try to see him. I've never seen him, but yeah.
We would love to see him here and definitely hope he comes out.
Well, he's the greatest, so it'd be nice to see him play.
Of course we're excited, but you know what? We'll see if he plays or not. You know, again, can't get too excited because of what happened last time.
A year ago, Messi was supposed to play in Vancouver with 51,000 people buying tickets, but he was a no-show.
He's on the flight. He's going to be probably on the field. It's going to be even better when we beat them. Super excited for everybody to be able to see him play and hopefully lose.
Meanwhile, the Vancouver Whitecaps say they need to avoid being in awe of Messi, try to win the game here at BC Place.
I think, of course, it's special that he is playing for Miami and we're playing Miami. But on the other side, it's not Vancouver against Messi. It's Vancouver against Miami, and we're not here to celebrate Messi. We're here to do whatever we can to see if we can move on.
Ticket resellers say prices for the tournament are going up after a slow start.
And I know that with Messi now traveling and people getting an opportunity to see him wherever, if he do happen to move on from this game, that people are going to be excited to want to see him, and that's going to definitely increase ticket sales.
More than 50,000 fans are expected again here to hopefully see Messi and also cheer on the Whitecaps. The teams will play a second game in Miami on April 30th, with the winner on aggregate going on to the CONCACAF Cup final. Amelia John, CBC News, Vancouver.
Darius Madavi's here for a first look at the weather. If it's nice tomorrow, they can open the dome.
I think they'll be able to. It looks nice and sunny across BC, just like it has been today. We have seen, a couple very scattered showers, as expected, pop up in some parts of the interior, like the central interior down in the southeast, but mostly confined to those higher elevations. Most people really seeing nothing but sunny skies across the province, and that is expected to continue over the next few days. Here you can see, again, a little bit of scattered cloud popping up for parts of the island, especially the North Island, west coast of the island, but mostly high cloud, mostly clearing out pretty fast. And for the most part, we're looking at very sunny skies right into the weekend, which will be warm, or at least not as warm as the week, but mostly warm, Dan, especially inland areas, getting into the mid-20s.
Oh, my. There we are. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Thousands of mourners packed the streets of Rome to say goodbye to Pope Francis. A look at the procession after this. A group of former and current female municipal police officers say they were surprised their lawsuit against their former employers was raised at a recent police discipline hearing for Vancouver police officer Kieran McConnell. The women are trying to certify a class action lawsuit against BC's municipal police departments. As Jason Proctor explains, a lawyer for the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner says it is proof of the need to address the problem.
This is a story about sexual harassment in municipal police departments and a recent public hearing into allegations that the longest-serving sergeant in the Vancouver Police Department, Kieran McConnell, sent sexualized messages and texts to former colleagues and students. Now, I was at the hearing where this proposed resolution to deal with those allegations was put forward that would see McConnell admit to sexually harassing 2 officers and 3 students in exchange for demotion and a 20-day suspension. In stressing how important this issue is, the lawyer for the Office of the Police Complaints Commissioner, which oversees discipline in municipal police departments, cited an ongoing proposed class action lawsuit brought by 6 former and current female officers against all of BC's municipal police departments, which came as a surprise actually to the women bringing this lawsuit. They've all been watching the Kieran McConnell case carefully. They believe their lawsuit influenced the decision to hold this hearing. They want protection, accountability, and transparency for women like the officers who complained about Kieran McConnell. And at the heart of all of this is the Police Act, which really governs policing and the investigation of police in BC. And what these women say is that the Police Act was just not built to contemplate workplace sexual harassment and bullying, particularly when it results in cop-on-cop complaints. Helen Irvine is a former Delta police officer and one of the women behind the class action. She says the McConnell case is typical of the way these things go. The deal's worked out, and then the women who were affected by it only learn of it the morning of the hearing.
These sort of investigations typically happen behind closed doors. The public rarely knows what's actually happening. Even as victims, we rarely know what's happening. Everything is just locked down and quiet and very carefully controlled. So that's why it was such a pleasant surprise for us. It's out there, people can hear it.
Another one of the women involved in the lawsuit was a victim of a sexual assault by a former VPD officer. Her identity is protected by a publication ban, but she says she's experienced this internal complaint process from every angle possible, and at every turn she felt like the Police Act favored the offender, leaving her marginalized and in the dark.
I would call it extremely damaging. I would say that the process would make any female victim feel worthless, and worthless in that you don't matter in the process, because everything goes over to making sure that the offender is well protected and safeguarded for the best outcome that they can get.
So where is the proposed class action lawsuit at now? Really? A year and a half into the process, it's now in the slow grind of the legal system. As for the Kieran McConnell hearing, we'll find out on May 6 if the retired judge overseeing the proceedings will accept the proposed deal his lawyer has struck with the Police Complaints Commissioner. She doesn't have to if she decides it's not in the public interest. Jason Proctor, CBC News, Vancouver.
There are long lines leading into St. Peter's Basilica, where Pope Francis is now lying in state. This as thousands of mourners arrive to pay their final respects to the pontiff, who died on Easter Monday. The body of Francis, laid out in an open coffin, was carried in a solemn procession from his nearby residence to the cathedral. There it will remain by the altar until Friday evening. The Vatican says it may extend the time for pilgrims to visit the 88-year-old's body until beyond midnight in Rome because of the large number of visitors. His funeral is set for Saturday and will be attended by many world leaders. Well, we've been seeing many clear skies and climbing temperatures here on the South Coast, but how long is it going to last? Darius Madabi will be back with your BC-wide weather forecast coming up next.
I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
CBC returns as the exclusive media partner of the Doxa Documentary Film Festival, May 1st to 11th. Doxa presents an exceptional selection of films and events that cultivate curiosity and critical thought. Festival tickets at doxafestival.ca. And on May 15th, join CBC's Dan Burritt at the Surrey Board of Trade's Top 25 Under 25 Awards, celebrating initiatives of Surrey's youth. Tickets at businessinsurrey.com.
Darius Madabi is here with our BC-wide weather forecast. Another lovely South Coast day. Who else gets it?
Everybody, pretty much. Yeah, other than those really scattered showers, everybody is sunny and dry, and the dryness at least continues for everybody through the week. Some places see a little bit of cloud movement at times, but for the most part, it's not going to interfere with your sunshine. So it's going to be a beautiful week ahead with no real change in sight, except for up in the far northwest. That corner of the province still getting a little bit of precipitation, but really that's it. So for the vast majority of people, just expect temperatures to continue to climb over the next couple days. If we take a look here, you can see that for inland areas on the coast, you're going to reach 23, 24 degrees. Port Alberni is very similar. For areas in the southern interior, reaching 21, 22 by tomorrow, Friday. Temperatures come up even a little bit more in the southern interior. Once we get into Saturday, temperatures start to come down a few degrees on the coast. Expect to come down 2 or 3 degrees by the water. A little bit of a bigger fall for inland areas, probably coming down 5 or 6 degrees inland Friday into Saturday. For the interior, though, those temperatures remain high in those low to mid 20s for Saturday, and then they'll start to come down on Sunday, which is not shown here. Our conditions across the province tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Nothing really to talk about here. Up around Dease Lake and again in the northwest, maybe a few showers, but that's really it. And here are our temperatures for the Metro Vancouver area. I wanted to highlight because, again, we're going to see a pretty significant difference for those inland areas versus those areas closer to the water. 18 degrees by the water, closer to 23, even 24 for those inland areas. So nice and warm over the next couple days, and Friday is looking pretty similar to tomorrow. Ignore where it says precipitation forecast. That is stuck there. I will fix it for tomorrow. Here is our forecast for the next few days here in Metro Vancouver. Again, lots of sunny skies. Our next chance of some showers doesn't arrive until Monday.
Okay, we are warned. Darius, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on CBC Vancouver News. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, our free app, as well as on YouTube and our website, cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1. That starts tomorrow morning at 5:30. Have a good night. I'll see you next week.